Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most overhated LEGO Star Wars sets of recent years. And of course that is the ARC-170 Starfighter. Now obviously it comes with 4 figures and it has been said to death how great these figures are. And I wholeheartedly agree, but they are not the focus of this video. Rather, we're going to take a look at the build and see why this has a reason to be hated, as well as what actually is good about this set, and does it get more hate than it deserves. Personally, I like it, but we're going to take a look at it from an objective view to really see if the hate is justified or if it has been overinflated for several reasons. Starting off, I wanted to take a look at the interior, at least this upper interior section, as the bottom is basically just one single seat, rather this has more going on. And one thing that a lot of people point out is that this back section has no control panels. And that's unfortunate. And I do like that they include this special printed control panel piece over here, but other than that, nothing too out of the ordinary. I will say though, one complaint I do have about this set is these pieces, they come off way too easy, and they also make it harder to get the astromech in. As you can see, it takes a bit of finagling, at least, or there we go. And just like that, our astromech droid is in. And honestly, with these cockpits closed, it definitely fills that empty space that you would see without it. So I definitely do prefer keeping the astromech droid in just to keep it nice and clean. And of course, there's 2 seats for our pilots. However, they don't have a space to hold their guns, so you have to put them in with them holding their guns. And here we have our pilots in. Now, of course, a lot of people have complained you can't actually take the astromech droid out because of the 2 helmets here. I personally don't mind that as much. I think it's good just to keep it extra secure. And also, it is a downsized set, so of course, some things like this are going to have to happen in order to get this shrunken down size. But honestly, I don't mind it. And I think, compared to most Starfighters today, that this interior cockpit section on the back is definitely one of the better ones we've had. And while it may be a bit underwhelming to some fans, I actually enjoy this back part. It definitely feels different compared to all the stuff we get nowadays. But as you can see when we close the windshields, we have misprinted stickers. They're supposed to be more white, and they do show as being more white on the box. And honestly, that is one of my biggest gripes with this set. Not only just putting stickers on windshield, but also these stickers don't match with the right white color, making it look like an off-white, which looks really bad. But apart from that, I actually don't have many gripes with this set's stickers. We do get a lot of these stickers, and I was hoping these would be printed, but at least these tiles are printed. But apart from that, all the other stickers are fine, maybe except this one in the front because of the gray brick and how it connects. But apart from that, I think the window stickers are the only thing that has real issue. Looking at the back side now, we have the other point for not liking this set, and that would be the cannons. Now, a lot of people agree that having them independently move of each other was a good decision. It allows for more posability and more accurate play. But the main points that they make is that the cannons on the back are too small and puny, and the gap is too big. For starters, I don't think that gap is too bad. I mean, a lot of people seem to think it's pretty big, but in person, it's actually not as big as one might assume. However, I do kind of agree with the blasters being kind of tiny. I would have liked them to at least be a little bigger. Maybe not super big to the point where it seems disproportional, but it would at least make it more intimidating to have back blasters that are somewhat, if not as big as the front cannons, as you can see right here. But apart from that, this is actually the one side that I don't really get the hate for, and I do enjoy having them rotate independently, and I don't mind the gap as much. It definitely is a nice play feature, and I'm glad they were able to make it at least more accurate for the play. Moving on to the wings now, we have a few things to discuss here. For starters, a lot of people have pointed out that this white is disproportional to this red. This red is the same amount that was on the former ARC-170, but the white has been significantly reduced, meaning it creates a disproportional look where the red should have been to here and the white should have gone up to there. And honestly, I can't blame them. It does make it look a little less accurate. But if you aren't that big on the ARC-170 and don't notice those small details, I don't think a regular fan would notice anything too wrong with this. But every little bit is appreciated. And of course, we have printed tiles here, and it does line up pretty nicely here, so I will give them credit for that. Now, the biggest point of contention on the wings is, of course, the cannon, where this small part is completely supposed to be way longer, and this spring-loaded shooter shouldn't even be here. Now, I do agree with the spring-loaded shooter part. It shouldn't be there. It doesn't look as good as they might have thought. But for the cannon, I honestly don't think you could have made it that much bigger in this scale without making it look ridiculously oversized, as this is proportionate to something like the 2021 X-Wing. So you can't exactly make the cannons too big. Maybe a little extension would have been nice, but apart from that, I don't think you're going to get much out of a cannon for a downsized version of the set. Now, as for the spring-loaded shooter situation, I have a solution, and that involves the gaps on the underneath of the model. There are these gaps right here where bricks could clearly go to make a more supported connection. And I think putting the spring-loaded missiles there would have been a smart decision, as you could have integrated them in a way where they're mostly hidden in the ship, as well as increasing the strength of this bottom flat section, which, on a side note, is also something people don't like, as it looks inaccurate. But personally, I like it because it makes it easier to display, it'll sit flat, and it'll be more, stable in a landing position. But that's my solution for these spring-loaded missiles and the shooter that comes with it. You could then replace it with a more accurate design and also have the play feature integrated in. But as it is, not the worst thing, but I definitely can see the hate over this. And then the final point of contention has to do with the thrusters, which should be a bit bigger to coincide with the wings and are downsized from other models. And while I do agree that we should have gotten at least a bit of a bigger thrust size, it honestly isn't that bad. I do like the techniques they implemented to get the thrusts to look like this, but honestly, considering the pieces they have, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the only way they were able to manage to get a accurate thruster design at a more downsized scale. I do like some of the techniques, like using a figure skating piece here to make it look like the engines are running. But apart from that, I think these thrusters actually look pretty good. They're definitely way better than some of the other thruster designs we've gotten. And I definitely think in the modern age of LEGO Star Wars, this is a rare case of nice looking thrusters. Apart from that though, I don't think you could have done much with the downsize. And honestly, this is the one part that I Gotta say, looks better than most people say. So, now that we've looked at the model as a whole, at all of the flaws that people have pointed out with it, what do I think now? Well, while there's some clear, obvious flaws that should have been fixed before this set was released, as shown by the window stickers and the spring-loaded shooter implementation, I honestly think this set is not as bad as people say. The smaller size definitely lends itself to being easier to display on most shelves, and also it avoids having sagging wings on some of the older models. Apart from that, most of the other things are really just small nitpicks on accuracy, which, while I can get on certain things, don't really contribute to the entirety of the model itself. I would rather have better play features, which this set does have, than accurate design, because at the end of it all, LEGO Star Wars at its core was about the play features before the accuracy. And I do agree that some parts should have been more accurate, but given the state that we're in LEGO Star Wars right now, I do believe this is one of the better sets, and it is not nearly as overpriced as something like Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor, which has a much higher price tag for very minimal play features. And this honestly is one of the best clone sets we have gotten recently, given the fact that no one has complained about helmet holes and the fact that we now have a new ARC-170 after all this time. And it doesn't hold up as bad as you might think in hand. So I really implore you guys to go and get this set, because it is severely misunderstood, and I think it's going to do a lot better than everyone is expecting later on in its life. Now, that could be due to discounts, but I have a feeling that on the resale market, once this set retires, it's going to go skyrocketing and everyone is going to sing its praises on the set, how it was an underrated gem. But you heard it here first. So, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you like seeing these overrated set review videos, and maybe I'll make more of them on sets that maybe have gotten overlooked or forgotten as well. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.